Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Wish Upon. This movie tells the story of a teenage girl who discovers a magic box with the ability to grant 7 wishes. However, the people close to her start to die in very gruesome ways each time she uses it. Did the magic box actually bring disaster? Let's find out in Wish Upon. Wish Upon begins with a scene that shows a mother named Johanna taking out the trash while pensive. She was then greeted by her neighbor, Mrs. DeLuca. On the other hand, her daughter Claire and her pet dog Max are playing and examining a bird that has just hatched an egg. However, after Claire returns home and searches for her mother, she finds her mother ended her life by hanging herself. The scene then switches to Claire, a teenager who has nightmares about her mother's tragic death. That morning, Claire's father, Jonathan, goes to work with his friend Carl. Claire went to school by riding her bicycle. While on her way, she was almost hit by a car carrying 3 arrogant teenagers who liked to bully her. She even fell and was injured. But Claire is still trying to be cheerful while helping pick up newspapers for her wealthy uncle, named August. Arriving at school, Claire's father and Carl were cleaning the trash in front of the school area. It turns out that Jonathan and Carl work as garbage collectors. Claire, who felt embarrassed, immediately asked her father to leave from there. Jonathan obeyed his daughter's wishes. It turns out that Claire has a talent for painting and she displays her paintings at school, accompanied by 2 of her best friends, June and Meredith. Meredith is someone who loves playing an online game on her phone. As usual, the 3 teenagers who like to bully her are deliberately looking for trouble by throwing their cup at Claire's painting. However, secretly Claire has a crush on the man who became an idol at her school, namely Paul. Elsewhere, Jonathan picks up trash in an old abandoned house and finds an antique box. He then took the antique box home. Meanwhile, back to school, Claire, who couldn't stop being bullied, finally decided to take revenge on her bullies, namely Lola, Tyler, and Darcy. Claire immediately cursed Darcy with harsh words, until finally a fight broke out between them. When she gets home, Jonathan says he has a present for Claire in her room. It turned out that the antique box that Jonathan found had text written in ancient Chinese. Claire could understand some of the writing on the antique box because her class had basic Chinese lessons. The text reads as 7 requests, but she couldn't open the box because there was a lock code. Darcy, who is still not satisfied with the fight with Claire at school, posted a photo of Jonathan collecting some garbage. Claire, who saw Darcy's post, then remembered the box of 7 wishes. She then idly and begged for Darcy's body to rot while holding the box. At night while sleeping, the antique box suddenly opened by itself and played a song, then it locked again. At the same time, Lola and Tyler stay at Darcy's house. Claire's request is granted because Darcy's body suddenly rots when she goes to the bathroom. The photo showing the sick Darcy has spread throughout the school. Knowing this, Claire became interested in the box of 7 requests. She began to believe if her request was granted by the magic box. Claire takes a photo of the box and looks for her dog Max, who suddenly disappeared. Claire was so hysterical when she found Max, who was dead and even his carcass had been eaten by rats. She can only cry because Max is a dog given to her by her late mother who has been cared for since childhood. The next day, Claire asked her Chinese teacher about the writings on the magic box. The writing on the box was in ancient Chinese characters, so the teacher didn't understand the meaning. Then her classmate named Ryan arrives and offers to help. Ryan said he has a cousin named Gina, an expert in ancient Chinese characters. However, this assistance is not free because Gina offers services as a professional translator. Meanwhile, Darcy's news began to spread and even the students said that some of Darcy's fingers had to be amputated because they were rotting. Claire herself is still so devastated by Max's death. In her sadness, she tries to browse Paul's social media. She found out that Paul was dating Lola. Claire then requests the magic box to make Paul fall in love with her. The next day, Claire was so surprised by Paul's sudden appearance, but Lola came and took him away. The scene changes when August slips into the bathroom, causing the rich man to die. Surprisingly, Claire didn't show any sadness at all when she heard about her uncle's death. She even hoped that August's wealth would fall into her hands because her uncle had no other heir. Claire's third wish to gain control of her uncle's estate was immediately granted. Jonathan and Claire eventually moved into August's house, then said goodbye to their neighbor Mrs. DeLuca. All of August's possessions, from the mansion, the car, and the facilities that used to belong to August, now belong to Claire. Claire invites her 2 best friends, June and Meredith, to party at her new home and pay for whatever they want. While Claire was painting, she saw firsthand that the magic box opened itself and sang a song. At the same time, Mrs. DeLuca was confused because the food scraper machine in her sink suddenly couldn't work. She turned the switch off the machine, then tried to reach inside the machine to retrieve the clogged food. When her hand went into the machine, she almost knocked the switch, but nothing happened. Mrs. DeLuca, who still felt that there was a problem with the food crusher, tried to fix it again. but the crushing machine tragically took Mrs. DeLuca's life. At the same time, the box that was open suddenly closed by itself and made Claire confused. The next day, Jonathan gives Johanna's painting to Claire. Claire then asked her father why her mother ended her life. Jonathan admitted that he also did not know the reason behind his wife's death, but he knew that his wife had a dark secret in her childhood. Later, Jonathan plays the saxophone in memory of his late wife. The scene changes when Claire wakes up from a nightmare. She was sure she saw someone near her room, but when she checked, there wasn't anyone out there. While at school, Paul is seen breaking up with Lola because he doesn't love her anymore. Paul immediately went to Claire and asked her out on a date. Claire now has a lot of money, so she goes to Ryan and pays her cousin to translate the ancient Chinese characters on the magic box. After Claire met and handed the box to Gina, the girl who was good at ancient Chinese said that the box was like a Chinese wish pot. Usually, people write their wishes on paper, then put them in a pot and wait for their wishes to come true. However, this one box is much bigger and different. Gina then tried to read the letters on the engraved box. It's written that the applicant must hold the box for the request to be granted. The request can also be cancelled if they remove the box, throw it away, or sell it. In addition, at the bottom of the box is also written the box owner's name, namely Lu Mei. After being investigated, it turned out that in the year 1910, a disease spread in mainland China. Lu Mei and her family are suspected of being infected with the disease. They were quarantined in a train carriage until they died from overheating and dehydration, except for Lu Mei. Based on information read by Gina, it was said that at that time, Lu Mei only brought her family's valuables, a music box. Later, she took the music box to the temple to ask for justice. For 7 days and 7 nights she prayed, and on the 7th night, Yao Guig granted her wish. Yao Guig is a demon believed by the Chinese people. After that, suddenly Lu Mei became a wealthy person and her enemies also bowed to her. In 1922 she died by ending her life. Gina also saw another sentence in the request box that said when the music stopped and the next writing was unreadable because she couldn't understand the words. Gina will ask for help from a friend who is more familiar with ancient Chinese characters. Gina, Claire and Ryan also noticed several numbers under the box. It is not known what this number means. Then Claire and Ryan return to their homes. Even though he is already rich, Jonathan is still a garbage man. This made Claire very irritated. While in the room, she begged her father to stop doing the dirty work. The box opens and plays a song. Jonathan, who originally worked as a garbage collector, suddenly started a jazz band. He was even more proficient at playing the saxophone. Elsewhere, Gina has received an email from her friend who was very surprised to learn the meaning of the words in the box. However, suddenly the power went out and there was no signal. Gina then left the house to look for a signal to send a voice message to Ryan. She told Ryan that she had gotten the translation of the words she didn't understand. The meaning of those words was very bad and she asked Ryan to come to her house immediately. Suddenly a door closed by itself until Gita's cell phone fell from her hand. Inside the house, Gina looked scared because of the terrible roar of lightning. Suddenly the power went out and she tripped over something that made her fall right on the rhino's horn statue in her house. Gina died. The next day, Ryan, who heard Gina's voicemail, immediately came to her house. Outside the house, he finds Gina's cell phone. He was so shocked when he saw Gina, who died tragically. Ryan immediately goes to Claire and asks if she's ever made a wish to the box, but Claire didn't want to answer Ryan's question. Ryan then said that he had read the reply email from Gina and knew the translation of the missing sentence, which meant every request must be paid with someone's life. But Claire decided to keep quiet and didn't want to admit that she had made many requests to the music box. Claire prefers to sit with Paul than with her friends in the cafeteria. Lola, Tyler and their friends felt uncomfortable and disgusted by Claire's arrival and they left immediately. After that, so that she would not be hated by her friends, Claire again asked the box to become the most popular girl in school. Not long after, Paul picks up Claire to go to a party. Claire was greeted like the most beautiful and popular girl at the party. In fact, Lola and Tyler were also very impressed with her. During the party, Claire finally officially dated Paul. That night, Claire again has nightmares about her mother's death and again someone is stalking her from outside. She tried to chase the scout to the outer courtyard but she found no one. Finally, her father came and calmed her down. Claire remembered that she had always been scouted by a mysterious figure since she got the box. She then stowed the music box in a vent. The next day, Claire went to see Mrs. DeLuca. Since there was no answer, she tried to go around the house to look for her. Claire smelled a very strong stench as she entered Mrs. DeLuca's unlocked house. That's when she screamed hysterically when she found Mrs. DeLuca, who had died. The scene shifts to Claire, who is daydreaming in the school cafeteria. Claire began to remember Ryan's warning about the music box. She then went to her two friends. At first, they seemed angry with her, but in the end they accepted Claire's return as a friend. Claire told them about what had happened. According to her, when she asked for a request from the music box, someone around her would die tragically. Meredith said the story was just a coincidence and she kicked the box instead. June also suggested that Claire throw the box away, but Claire still hesitates because all her requests will be lost if she throws the box away. But in the end, Claire follows June's advice to throw the cursed box away. The scene shifts to Claire and Paul making out in the car. That's when Claire found out that Paul had been stalking her. Paul did that because his love for Claire was so great that he always took pictures of Claire even when she was asleep. Claire, who felt uncomfortable with Paul's attitude, finally broke off their love relationship. On the other hand, the mysterious box opens again and plays a song. That means, soon there will be bloodshed. Claire returns with her best friend to enjoy the party. However, Meredith said goodbye for a while because she found a monster on her mobile gameplay and had to go to the 26th floor to catch the monster. Claire finally confesses to June that she hasn't thrown the box away. Meredith, who had managed to get the last monster in her mobile game, decided to head back downstairs to enjoy the party, but suddenly the lift she was traveling in jammed, causing the lift to fall freely downwards. Claire, who knew about the incident, screamed and was hysterical. June immediately blames Claire for Meredith's death and leaves. Then Ryan came to calm Claire and took her to his house. After Claire had calmed down enough, Ryan said that he had found the meaning of the numbers under the box, which turned out to be an Air Force military ID number named Arthur Sense, who was assigned to China at the end of World War II. Arthur got the box in China. After getting the box, Arthur became very successful, but on the one hand many of his closest people died. Arthur's psyche was increasingly disturbed and he finally decided to end his life. His wife was admitted to a mental hospital. Then in the last 5 years, another man named Lawrence got the box. The man also became rich and had a perfect family, but everyone around him began to die one by one, even his wife and children. Lawrence, who went crazy, ended up burning down his own house. The man was hiding in a room because he had made 7 requests. Ryan said after 7 wishes are granted, Yao Guig will take the soul of the person who has asked for the request. Finally, Claire was honest that she had made 5 wishes. Claire asks Ryan to help her destroy the box. They both tried to burn the box, but it didn't burn. Claire decided to take the box home for a while and hid it in the ventilation hole of her house. Claire woke up again from her nightmare. This time she saw Paul was already in her room. Paul is completely infatuated with Claire and doesn't want her to leave. The next day, Ryan comes to Claire's house, but the box is missing. Claire and Ryan looked everywhere but couldn't find it. With the loss of the box, it means that all the requests that were made previously will disappear automatically. Not long after, Claire's inheritance rights were revoked because August was 10 years in arrears in paying taxes. Claire also has to return to her old abandoned house. She has to get back on her bicycle to school, and Jonathan returns to being a garbage man again. Claire also lost her popularity. Even Darcy has now recovered and is back to bullying her again. Claire finally finds out that her music box was stolen by June. According to June, she was doing it for Claire's sake. Claire, whose soul is starting to get disturbed and can't stand living in poverty, finally takes her music box forcibly and even causes June to fall down the stairs. Knowing this, Ryan hates Claire because she is very selfish. Ryan tried to stop her, but Claire had lost her mind and still carried the box. On the 6th wish, Claire wants her mother to never end her life. Miraculously, Johanna knocks on her room. The scene changes when Jonathan and Johanna celebrate Claire's birthday together. Then when Claire entered her mother's drawing room, she saw something very shocking. It turns out that Johanna committed ending her life because she was the previous owner of the box. So what Johanna throws away at the film's beginning is the wish box. Like the previous victims, Johanna could not stand the pressures in her life. Claire blamed her mother because she was the cause of all this. Then suddenly a song came from the box and Claire saw her father and Carl chopping a tree. A panicked Claire runs after her father, but she's too late because Jonathan dies from a mower. Johanna was hysterical to see her husband's tragic death. Claire then ran into the room and grabbed the box. She made her last wish to come back just before her father found the box. Claire is very happy to see her father is still alive and about to work with Carl. Likewise with Mrs. DeLuca and her friends are also still alive. Claire ends up following her father to work before going to school. Claire took the box and put it in her bag. Arriving at school, she went to see Ryan even though they weren't that close at the time. Then she asks Ryan to help bury her bag without telling him the reason and asks Ryan out on a date and kisses him. Claire then felt very happy. But when she turned around, Darcy's car accelerated and hit her to death. Ryan, who had dug the ground to bury Claire's bag, was curious and opened the bag. Seeing the 7 wishes written on the box, he also intends to have it. The film ends.